not everyone maybe, but a lot of people are talking about, especially kids, Debbie. They are looking at now 6 days away from the celebration of Christmas, and we want to make sure they understand the true meaning of the season. But for kids, it's just really a magical, special time of the year. And what you and I are going to talk about with our listeners today is how that sense, that awe, that wonder of Christmas, maybe that's changed a little bit for some people. We want to hear from our listeners today about how the meaning, the significance, the feel, the approach to Christmas has changed for people as they've gone through their lives.
I posted on our Facebook page, Jerry and Debbie Facebook page today, about the show airing, and how, just like you said, Jerry, as children, we remember Christmas a certain way, with Santa Claus and reindeer and snowmen and gifts and lights and trees and everything that is, like you said, of just that magical sense of the holiday season. And then life happens, and Christmas meaning changes a bit, or should say maybe evolves or unfolds in a certain way as we mature as Catholic Christians. And maybe we've gotten back to the heart of what Christmas really is, Christ's birth, and how precious that is, the greatest gift of all. And maybe because of life, you've gotten back to that perspective. So we want to hear from you today. How has Christmas changed for you over the years? 1-800-585-9396. That's the number to dial. Or you can text in. You text the letters EWTN to 55000. You wait for a response, and then you put in your first name, your question or comment. We'll pop it into the discussion. But just keep in mind that maybe minor data rates may apply depending on your service plan. So we want you to be part of the conversation. That's the name of the game on Take Two.
All right, again, it's 1-800-585-9396. And we're not really talking so much today about traditions and rich family rituals and what you do around Christmas and how that has changed. You can certainly share about that. But I really, just as Debbie has mentioned, when you look at Christmas through the eyes of a child, it's one thing. It's not being able to sleep at night. It's in my case, Debbie, and I'm sure you never did this because you were a saintly little girl, but maybe tearing off a corner of one of your packages that was stored up in the closet that had your name on it, and try to patch it back together as if your mom or your dad isn't going to know that it was you who did it because the gift is for you. But just the kids jumping out of bed in the morning, waking up mom and dad, that sort of thing. To then later in life you go, and I would say right now, I travel a lot, Debbie, and I have people really say to me every year, "What are you going to do for Christmas? Who are you going to be with? Mm-hmm. Are you going to see your family?" They say, "What are you going to do?" I say, "Nothing," and I'm going to love it.
People are trying to get you to do something.
Yeah, well, people get concerned. Oh, you're not going to you're not going to travel to see family. You're not going to go to friends for dinner. I'm like, I don't need to do that.
Right.
So I guess I use that as an example. I was that child who couldn't sleep at night, bounded out of bed in the morning, was so excited, to now being 55 years old. And I'm not saying I'm holy because of this, but I'm saying that just the meaning, the significance, what the day and the season actually mean have changed for me. What about you?
Absolutely. Jerry, I was laughing so hard I had to turn my mic down, because when you were talking about unwrapping the corner of the gift and rewrapping, I was a pro at it. As a matter of fact, so much so, this is no joke. One of my first jobs when I was 15 years old was our local town department store. They put me in the gift wrapping section because I was
great.
so
you
good.
Got lots of practice.
I was so good at unwrapping and rewrapping and bending the corners perfectly, but I used to do that, Jerry. I used to unwrap the gifts. I wanted to make sure I got the things on my list. Otherwise, I was going to complain before Christmas happened. But it was, it changed over the years. Absolutely. But like you said, it's an interesting conversation to have, because maybe we can learn something. We can walk away from this hour a little bit changed, maybe have a little bit of a wake-up call, or maybe get back to what is really important about Christmas. So the number to dial is 1-800-585-9396. And phone calls are coming in. That's great. Matt Gabinski is on the phones, and he'll answer, and you'll love talking to him. And here's what's really great. You'll be, when after he says hello to you and puts you on hold, you'll be able to listen to the show live. So you can jump right in and add to the conversation. It's a great way to keep the conversation moving.
1-800-585-9396. I would also love to hear from anyone who perhaps is a convert to Catholicism, or maybe you're not a Catholic, but you've become a Christian of another tradition during your lifetime, and maybe when you were younger you didn't know, or Christmas didn't have much meaning to you at all. And now maybe you just have that heart full of, just flooded with gratitude because God has shown the true meaning of the Christmas season to you. But Debbie, I think in most cases, among those who are listening right now, it's probably going to be those who have known Christmas throughout their lives, and it's been important. But how has that importance changed for you? I guess that's what we're trying to have a conversation about today on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
And you drive the show. So you take the show, dear listener, however, whatever height you want to take it to, we're willing to go with you for the ride to see where God allows the Holy Spirit to let it unfold for all of us. But you have to participate. So if you're listening right now and you're like, well, I think I could offer something to this conversation, then jump in at 1-800-585-9396. You're listening to Take Two today with Jerry and Debbie, and we're talking about how has the meaning of Christmas changed for you over the years. It's an important discussion, and we will be changed after this brief hour we're together, so stay with us.
The wisdom of Mother Angelica.
Nothing that is exterior, although they're all good, almsgiving and visiting the sick, and all of these things are wonderful, and we should do them all, but not at the expense of saying to Jesus, I thank you for coming. Happy birthday. My gift to you is a repentant heart, is a gentle spirit, is an unselfish mind. My gift to you, Lord, is a compassionate heart, is a listening heart. My gift to you is sobriety, is to go without drugs, alcohol, promiscuity, fornication, adultery. My gift to you, that you may make me as white as wool. I love you, Jesus.
For more information on Mother Angelica, visit Religious Catalog at EWTNRC.com.
Listen to EWTN Radio at any time, day or night. Audio on demand brings your favorite programs, recently broadcasted shows, prayers, and devotionals instantly to you for free. For more, visit EWTNapps.com.
Howdy, folks. This is Jimmy Akin from Catholic Answers Live, and Advent is the time where we're waiting for Jesus to come to us. It's right there in the name Advent. In Latin, venire means to come, and ad means to. So Advent is when we're waiting for Jesus to come to us, and that's what makes Advent so special.
Post your intentions on the prayer wall on Jerry and Debbie's website. To get there, just click on the bright yellow J&D logo at take2show.com. Jerry and Debbie personally reply to every prayer intention that's posted. Others will also offer you their prayer support. When there's something important you want prayers for, post it on the prayer wall on Jerry and Debbie's site. Visit take2show.com, click on the J&D logo today.
This is Al Cresta, host of Cresta in the Afternoon.
Hi, this is Dan Burke from the National Catholic Register.
This is Bishop Robert Barron of the Archdiocese of Los Angeles. Have a blessed Advent from all of us at EWTN Radio.
Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. We're taking a fresh look at Christmas. Now, objectively speaking, we want every human being, man, woman, and child on the face of the earth to understand the true meaning of the season, of the holiday, if you will. It is when God became man, took on our human nature, and born a little baby for the purpose, for the mission of ultimately dying, laying down his life for us. And if you strip the meaning of Christmas of that, then it really has no meaning at all. But in our lives, what that celebration or this period of time means to us can take very different forms. And we were talking about how a 5, 6, 7-year-old child isn't going to understand so much the spiritual or theological. We want to try to impart that to them, Debbie, but really for them, it's perhaps more about waiting for Santa Claus or looking at all the packages under the tree and putting up the lights and singing carols and so forth. And as we go through life, we gain, I think, a fuller understanding of what this season means. But, Debbie, events happen to us, especially sometimes on Christmas. We may lose a loved one, or a relationship can go sour or something. And so different things happen throughout our lives. And so the impact, just the feeling of Christmas can change a lot. So that's what we're asking our listeners to share about.
Well, and we had Mary from Tucson, Arizona, weighed in with a comment online saying, and this is exactly to your point, Jerry, she was saying, as a child, it was so very special with family and presents and the decorations and baking. It wasn't until I became Catholic 4 years ago that Christmas was amplified, especially with making Christmas for my daughter, who is 7. She gets to have everything I had as a child, plus the spiritual side as well. It is a huge blessing and a very, very special part of the year for me and my family, as it rewarms our hearts at the end of every year and reminds us that no matter what God put himself on earth to save us all, it is a reminder also that family is the most important thing. How beautiful was that? Mary did that by, she commented online from Tucson, Arizona. It's so true, Jerry, exactly what you said about how important it is. And then coming into the church, things can definitely change for the view that a person has for Christmas. But Beverly was first in Massachusetts, listening on the Station of the Cross, and Beverly wants to share her take on what we're talking about today. Hi, Beverly. Welcome to Take Two.
Thank you so very much. Merry Christmas to you.
And
Merry
to you.
Christmas.
I just would share my story with the other person I spoke to on the phone, and I told him that I grew up as a homeless child. My mom gave me away when I was a kid, so I really didn't experience Christmas really well. But that was the time that people at Christmas, that's when I would get something to eat, because give free food, and that's when I experienced Christmas. Homeless woman. It was very difficult. But I know that I had Jesus Christ. And even though, I went to school, started working in nursing and bought the big house and had the money and car and stuff like that, and cancer slapped me down. I ended up losing everything. The house went into foreclosure, to repossess the car, froze my bank. Still had Jesus Christ. They took everything, but they couldn't take him from me. And even today, I'm grateful because of the love of Christ in my heart that I can share as a homeless woman. I can share to people the love that Christ have done for me. He died for me. And if there's nothing else in life that is important, it's important that Jesus, I understand that for me, and he's coming again. And all of the earthly things that is gone is just material. But I know that there's a day that will come that I will live in eternity with him. And that's my Christmas gift.
Beautiful outlook, Beverly. I felt the power behind your words when you were saying that all else can be taken away or stripped away, but no one can ever take that relationship away from you that you have with Jesus. And absolutely, amen to that. And holding on to that, that's forever, Beverly, forever. All of this other stuff, it was cutting out a little bit in and out, and I wasn't sure how much did you say you grew up homeless, or are you homeless? You're not homeless now, correct?
Yeah, I grew up homeless, and as a matter of fact, I was homeless over the last year.
Oh, okay.
And I'm not Catholic, but a Catholic gentleman, an elderly man, came and knocked on my car windows 7 times. And the Lord sent me to take you off the street, because when I met him, I was witnessing to him about the love of God, and I was homeless. And because of that, he brought me into his home. There's no relationship between us. He just brought me in to take me off the street. And I am grateful. I just had a job off. Today I found out that they didn't need me anymore. And I am not sad. I know that God is what he is doing, and I'm going to hold on to the love of Christ within my heart, because that is what gives me strength.
Absolutely, Beverly. It's eternal. And if more people can hear what you're saying, we'd have a much happier civilization. The problem is so many people lose that. We get caught up in what is happening right in front of us, and we think to ourselves, "Oh my goodness, I have to have that car, I have to have that house, I have to have that job, or I'm not going to survive in this world." And what you have, Beverly, is so much more, because yes, amen to that. And I feel so blessed, and I know Jerry feels this way as well, that we feel so blessed that you called in today to share your life experience with all of us, because that's what Christmas is all about, to get back to the heart of exactly what it was meant to be, that Christ is the reason and will always be the reason for the season. So,
amen. It's funny. So many people grab on to material things, and you go by the stores and you see they're buying up all of this stuff, but yet there's so many people out here that is hungry. There's so many children that is hungry, that need something, but yet we want the big house. We want to remodel the house. We want to get the latest of everything, not knowing that these things are just temporary. It's so sad, and that's what I don't understand, is that mankind is grabbing at so much wasteful things, but yet they're not striving for what is eternal, and it's sad.
Mm-hmm.
Beautifully stated, Beverly. Thank you so very much for gracing our program today, and hope that you have a final week of Advent that is just filled with great blessings and preparation. Sounds like your heart is pretty ready for Christmas already, but hope that it's a joyous celebration for you. Thanks for calling Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
And our prayers are with you, Beverly, for a prosperous New Year. Prosperous New Year. Go ahead. Sorry, Jerry. 1-800-585-9396. We're asking for your takes today on how the feel, the meaning, the significance of Christmas has changed for you. Again, maybe like most little kids, it's just you have big eyes and you wait for Christmas morning and the packages and all of that. And as we go through life, events happen, situations occur, circumstances change, and hopefully the meaning of Christ's birth and the celebration of that deepens in our hearts. So how has that evolved for you? 1-800-585-9396. All right, Dave, thanks for calling, listening to EWTN Radio on St. Gabriel Radio in Columbus, Ohio. Hello, Dave. Welcome to Take Two.
Hi, Jerry. Hi, Debbie. How you doing?
Good, Dave.
Doing well, Dave. Thank you.
Long time no talk.
Not too long, Dave. Don't be a stranger.
I'm currently on vacation. That's why I'm able to call.
Great.
But the meaning of Christmas to me is back in 1999, my aunt, she was in the hospital with leukemia at Christmas time of that year, and she never came back out of the hospital. She died in January 2000, but on Christmas Day of 1999, she gave me the family Catholic Bible, and that's how I became Catholic in 2006.
Wow. So you were not Catholic then before that, Dave, you're saying?
Right.
Wow. Was your aunt Catholic?
Yes, she was. She was a very strict Catholic, and she prayed every day. And when I had Hodgkin's disease back in 94 and 95, that was at Christmas time too. She prayed for me daily at that time too.
Well, then, Dave, we need to pray for her and thank her for giving you that family Bible and bringing you into the church. So, do we have your aunt's first name in our prayer book?
No, you don't.
Can we have it?
Her name is Gina.
Gina. Okay, she's in.
She was also a good Italian person too.
That's always good. That's always an added
Debbie
plus.
Likes that, yeah.
But isn't that special, Dave? See, you were gifted that family Bible, and that was the doorway, that opening into you exploring and to coming into the Catholic Church, which you came in 6 years later?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's huge. See, this is why it's so important. That's why I believe, Jerry, that's why you do Vocation Boom ministry, because of the same reason, Dave, that it's so important that we invite others into the faith. We ask others about their vocational call. We encourage others to move forward in their faith walk, just like that Catholic gentleman witnessed to Beverly, who was the first caller who called in. The two of them, there was a beautiful soul connection there that helped each other. It's important that we do that, and it sounds like your aunt did that for you, Dave, and how beautiful is that? You're blessed.
Yes, I am. And I also just want you guys to keep praying for me. I sent you guys an email last week.
Sure. Yeah, we have you in prayer all the time, Dave, as well as all of our Take Two with Jerry and Debbie listeners and our entire family. In fact, Debbie, I know you do this all the time, and just at Mass, I go to often Saturday evening, the Vigil Mass, and I just really, very, very intentionally this week put all of the Take Two family on the paten and in the chalice at the consecration. So, Dave, yeah, we're praying for you, dear brother. Thank you for making this a better program by your participation. We appreciate that so much, and all of our listeners are going to be praying for you as well. I'm going to go to Jacqueline in Plano, Texas, listening to EWTN Radio on Guadalupe Radio. Jacqueline, what's your take on how the meaning of Christmas has changed?
When I was growing up, my parents never bought us gifts and wrapped up gifts. It's not that they didn't have the money; it just wasn't very important to them. They more like took us to posadas where someone dressed like Mary and someone dressed like Joseph, and Angel. And they pretend like they're trying to find an end. They knock on doors, and there's a special song that we sing, the people on the outside of the house and the people inside the house. So I was born Catholic, and I'm going to die Catholic. But like I said, I'm a cradle Catholic, and they influence more on the spirituality of it than the gifts. So, I'm trying to teach my son the same thing, not to focus on expensive gifts, and I also take him to posadas now too.
Beautiful. Well, that example you got from your parents, Jacqueline, that is so important, and the fact that you want to pass that on to your son is a very, very beautiful reality, a thing that you're doing there. And how is that? You said, I was born Catholic, I'm going to die Catholic. So it sounds to me you're someone for whom the meaning of Christmas is very deep and real in terms of it's about Jesus and his birth and what he came to earth to do for us. Would you say that really that's kind of where you zero in on every year at this time, and perhaps even throughout the year?
And I'm also a catechist at my church, and so he attends class with me, and we do posadas also in the class, and so I focus more on the spirituality of it than expensive gifts. I just don't think it's that important. So.
Well, Jacqueline, your son is blessed because he has a mom who's dedicated to his spiritual growth. And again, like Beverly said, the first caller, who was so amazing, it's an eternal gift you're giving your child. And so God bless you for that. And thank you for being a catechist. Catechists are near and dear to my heart because I believe that if you jump into wanting to spread the faith by being a catechist, I think there's a special blessing in that. So, Jacqueline, thank you.
Thank you, Jacqueline, for the call. This is EWTN Radio, Jerry Usher and Debbie Georgiani. Take Two with Jerry and Debbie, and we're asking for your take, your brief story, if you will, your sense of the meaning of Christmas, and it really does. It can change in so many different ways. Debbie, unfortunately, we hear stories of people for whom they have very, very tragic experiences on Christmas or around Christmas, and all of a sudden that can kind of sap people of the joy that we all should be experiencing, and that's understandable. And on the other hand, some people, we've heard from those who find Christ, and then Christmas takes on a whole new meaning for them. So from childhood to adulthood, how has that kind of been transformed in your life? 1-800-585-9396.
I know we're getting ready for that hard break that we cannot move. I keep pestering you, Jerry, because I keep thinking that somehow you can be like Santa Claus and make that
Christmas
that break
is coming, Debbie.
Make that break be able to be moved about a couple seconds.
Make it go away.
Make it go. There's that beautiful music, though. We're going to hit the pause button for just a little bit. When we come back, let's really talk about how the meaning of Christmas has changed over the years for you. This is Take Two with Jerry and Debbie, and we'll be right back.
From EWTN News Nightly in Washington, D.C., I'm Wyatt Goolsby with an EWTN News Link. Electors gather today to formally elect Donald Trump as president. 538 members of the Electoral College will meet throughout all 50 state capitals and in Washington, D.C. to cast their ballots. Help is arriving for thousands of civilians trapped in Aleppo, Syria. Turkey's foreign minister says humanitarian groups have been able to reach civilians today. Pope Francis prays for peace in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. His appeal comes amid fears of widespread unrest as the African country's president refuses to step down after his term ends tonight. The Holy Father hopes talks in the country will take place peacefully. Those talks are on hold as political parties fail to reach an agreement. China says it will return the American underwater drone it seized last week. A spokeswoman for the country's foreign ministry says China took the device to ensure the safety of passing ships. I'm Wyatt Goolsby. Join us tonight for EWTN News Nightly.
More to Life with Dr. Greg and Lisa Popchak.
More to Life is about living the Catholic difference in our marriages, our families, the way we approach life in general.
It's about celebrating life and our Catholic faith and discovering all the ways God wants to bless us and help us be a blessing to others.
More to Life with Dr. Greg and Lisa Popchak. Weekdays, 10 a.m. Eastern on EWTN Radio.
The EWTN catalog is now totally digital. At home or on the go, Christmas shopping has never been easier. Plus, you and your friends can shop using your iPad or iPhone or virtually any mobile device. Visit EWTNRC.com today.
This is Archbishop Charles J. Chaput.
This is Teresa Tomeo, host of Catholic Connection.
Hello, friends. This is Father Wade Menezes of the Fathers of Mercy for EWTN. A very blessed Advent and happy Advent from all of us here at the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network.
EWTN. Live truth. Live Catholic.
Take Two with Jerry and Debbie and you as we're starting the final week before Christmas. Debbie, I love that Christmas is on a Sunday this year. It just, when Christmas or Easter fall on a Sunday, it's just, I don't know, it just gives it a little extra special blessing for me. But of course, when it falls on another day, then we get to go to Mass on another day during the week as well. Of course, we can go to Mass every day too. So
that's true. But I'm cracking up though. I've gotten so many text messages this week from friends who said, "So Christmas falls on a Sunday, and New Year's, Mary's day falls on Sunday. Does that mean we go twice during the day, or is it just once count?" I've gotten so many of those. Kind of fun.
Yeah. Well, those of you who are listening right now, surely you have something to impart to our listeners. Maybe there are people struggling, going through a difficult time like maybe you once did. And with God's help and just prayer and discovering really how to enter your heart deeply into the Christmas season, it's changed for you. Because sometimes at any time in our lives, whether it's when we're children, even as adults, Debbie, unfortunately, so many adults even, they center their whole Christmas mindset around giving gifts and shopping and receiving gifts and gathering with family and friends and parties and bowl games and all this stuff. And all of that stuff, that's cool. All that stuff is great as long as it's tempered and anchored. It's got to be anchored by what this time of the year really is all about. So, folks, how has that evolved for you? How has it changed? How has maybe a new meaning or understanding of Christmas transformed your life, your spiritual life, or your family over the years? 1-800-585-9396.
So jump in. If you feel the Holy Spirit is tugging at your heart and you have something to say, now's the time to say it. Got plenty of time. We have another half of the program to go, and so plenty of time to get to you. Like Jerry said, all you have to do is dial in 1-800-585-9396. Like Doc, who dialed in that number. And Doc is in West Virginia listening to Evangelist Radio. Hi, Doc. Welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. Hi, Doc. You're on. No, Doc.
Are you there, Doc?
Are you seeing patients, Doc? We'll wait. Are you? Come on, no, Doc. Okay, we're gonna, right. Or maybe we'll go back on hold. We would like to have him. I'd like to know if he's a real doctor, or is that just a nickname?
Well, we'll check back. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
we'll check back.
Matt's checking back in with him there, Doc, in West Virginia. 1-800-585-9396 is the number. Deb.
Okay, I have something. So I got this message from my mom who said that she's listening, and she never knew that I unwrapped and rewrapped the gifts. See that? She's
Really?
85 years old. She never knew it. Maybe she just didn't want to tell me. She didn't want to break my spirit.
Either that or you were pretty stealth about it.
I was really good. I used to get up really late at night, and I would wait till everybody was asleep. There was six kids in the family, and then my parents, so there's 8 of us, and I would just kind of crawl my way under, because we used to have the gifts out under the tree. We used to celebrate Christmas Eve. I guess I found out later that's an Italian tradition. I didn't know Christmas Eve was an Italian tradition. I always wondered why we celebrated Christmas Eve, but we did. We always celebrated at midnight. Okay, so that was my little story. I was never found out until now.
Well, yeah, and a cute little story from our family. Many people know that my mom and dad split up and divorced when I was 7, and there were 5 of us kids, and we were living in Seattle. And we had, sometime before that, purchased a couple little, very, very small houses down at the coast of Washington, right on the beach. And neither of the houses was big enough for the whole family to live in. So they were right next to each other. Probably about 30 feet apart. But some of the family would live in one house, and some of the family would live in the other. And we had
way.
Christmas. Yeah, and we always put the Christmas tree up in one of the houses. And so it was especially hard for those of us who were living in the other house, because Christmas morning came, and we had to, of course, get up and get dressed and dash. It was down a slight little hill to get to the other house. And we'd go just crashing in the door and just get on with things. It was kind of a madhouse.
Okay, but that's kind of cute. Who got to decide which house to live in? Did you draw straws or something?
I don't remember that. I was trying to reflect on that here recently.
Okay, that's an interesting story. That could make a screenplay or something.
Believe me, there's a lot about my life that can make a very intriguing screenplay.
Well, next up is Nicole. Nicole's getting in before Doc. I guess Doc must have just dropped off the line. Doc, call back maybe. Okay, Nicole, you are up next in Rhode Island, listening on the Station of the Cross. Hi, Nicole. Welcome to Take 2.
Hi, thank you for taking my call. I just wanted to share my faith-filled experience on Christmas. It's actually quite bittersweet in that my dad actually passed away on Christmas morning. So it was a very difficult time for our family, but very traditional Catholic family, and it really brought us even closer together than we were before, and it helped us for the 4 kids come together and really take great care of my mom for I think it's 25 years now. So we've always looked to Christmas as a very special time, even though it can, in the beginning years, it could be difficult. But we just look for ways to make it easier for other people, and it really gave us an opportunity to serve my mom as well. So I just wanted to offer people that hope that even if something tragic does happen, a lot of good can come from it.
Right. Nicole, so your mom's with us?
Yes, she's still with us. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So oh, cool. So can we have your dad's name for our book and his first name, and then also your mom's name, because we pray for those that are with us and those that have moved on. So if you don't mind passing on your mom's and dad's first name, that would be great.
Sure. It's Charles and Carol.
Charles and Carol. Okay, beautiful. So, quick question I need to ask you. Your dad passed on Christmas Day. Does your family do the same thing we do and celebrate on Christmas Eve, or do you still celebrate on Christmas Day?
We still celebrate on both. My dad was French Canadian, so Christmas Eve traditionally by French Canadians was celebrated on Christmas Eve, and but we still celebrate on both Christmas Eve and Christmas Day.
Wow, amazing. Well, see how it's changed for you, because as a child, I mean, it's definitely must have been very different, because your parents, your dad was alive, and it must have been very different with your dad passing on Christmas Day. I mean, to me, it reminds me of Mother Angelica passing on Easter Sunday. It's such I know for us living here, it can change the shape of a holy day, but it's so beautiful when you think of it from an eternal sense.
It is, and I remember my future brother-in-law said at the time, he said, only very special people pass on Christmas Day. So I really held that to heart for a long time. And sure enough, years and years later, my son was born on Holy Saturday.
Wow.
Is that right?
So we've got some good connections to the holy days.
Yeah, you sure do. Wow. Well, thank you for blessing us today with that. I think it's important for us to remember how, this brings it back, like Jerry said before the break, this brings it back to anchoring us. And I loved the fact that he used that word anchor, because it's so important. We can get so lost in this world, like Beverly said, our first caller, and just to anchor ourselves in the true meaning of how precious the holy days are. And they are in your family, obviously, Nicole. Thank you for blessing us today.
Thank you.
All right, Nicole, great to hear from you. 1-800-585-9396. You could even send in a comment or a question at take2show.com. You can comment on the post for the day. You can text us, text the letters EWTN to 55000. Post something on EWTN Catholic Radio Facebook page. So regardless of what your day has you doing right now, you can jump into the conversation. And, of course, by telephone, it's 1-800-585-9396. Debbie, we got Doc back on the line.
Doc
West Virginia.
is back. Hi,
Hey,
Doc.
Thanks for calling in. How are you?
Doc?
Well,
yeah.
It says
Okay,
he
I'm
is.
sorry. I got mixed up when I called in before. The guy told me, he says, turn your radio off, and I'm hooked up to the cell phone, goes to the radio, so I just speak into the radio. But anyway, I love your program, and hi, Jerry. Hi, Debbie.
Hi,
Doc. Hope you're having a great day. And I'll tell you why I called is because I do enjoy your program, and I've been listening frequently to Catholic radio. I make a lot of deliveries, and so I get to listen like pieces of radio. And I'm a Baptist, but my connection to the Catholic Church is when I was real young, and I was a Boy Scout, and we had the young man that was a very dear friend of mine that I grew up and played ball with him in his yard and everything. He was a Catholic, and our Boy Scout troop was Baptist, and he got permission from the Catholic Church to be a member of our Baptist Church Scout group, and we would go to Catholic Church. We like however many boys was in our troop. If somebody was a Methodist or a Baptist or Catholic, then we take turns going to all the different churches that the members of our Boy Scout troop belong to. Anyway, my friend, and so I enjoyed my visits to the Catholic Church, but I never really learned much about the Catholicism. But anyway, my young friend died in a construction accident on the same job that I worked on, and I was very, very, very sad about that. And then last year I lost my son in an automobile accident, and the week before he died, he told me he wanted to be near Jesus. And then sometime after that, Mother Angelica died, and I was hearing and listening to that because I gathered from listening to you all's radio station that she was just one phenomenal down-to-earth woman, and then they would start, when she died, they'd rebroadcast some of her earlier messages and stuff, and I remember one day this lady calls in, and she wants to know from Mother Angelica how she prays. So Mother Angelica answered her question, and then she says, well, and after I finish praying, I tell him to have a good day. And I thought, wow, that is, it almost sounds funny, you tell God to have a good day, but, he's like us in some ways, we were created in his image, so I'm sure he likes to have a good fun time too. But anyway, your question that you were asking today on your station was, how has Christmas become more spiritual or more significant to you as time goes by in your life? And I'm 72 years old now, and I've been working for 61 years in the retail business, and at Christmas selling stuff for Christmas, and it's gotten to be where, like, and I still work in retail business, but it's gotten to be where, all you hear when you turn on the radio, other than EWTN, all you hear is advertisements: buy this, buy that, make your Christmas great, and all this kind of stuff. And it's just, they polluting the airwaves with advertisements about Christmas, and there's a lot of people out there that don't even know how it happened. And it happened simple. It was Mary, M-A-R-Y, ... baby, B-A-B-Y, ... Christmas. And so that's been significant in my life, all my life, because when I was in the Boy Scouts, I was honored to be awarded the God and Country Award through my Baptist church work. But the Catholic connection has kind of always been there, and has been even more so and more uplifting since my son died, and I listened to rebroadcast of Mother Angelica. But I really like, even though I really love to hear about her and love to hear her talk because she's so down to earth. But I love your all's program too, which I catch off and on in between deliveries. Is about the only time I listen to radio, because I don't get a good signal in where I work now. But anyway, I hope that whatever you desire for Christmas, that you will receive that. I've had prayers answered immediately, and it took me 4 days to realize that my prayer was answered immediately. And ever since then, Christmas has been a more special, wonderful, glorious day to me, and I hope it is to you all too, and everybody out there in radio land listening.
Well, thank you, Doc, and you've said so many beautiful things. And first of all, we want to get the names of your friend and your son. We're very, very sorry about the passing of each one of them, but Debbie and I keep a book with names of those who our listeners have lost in their lives. And if you are open to it, Doc, if you can provide a first name for each of them, we'd love to add them to the people that we're praying for.
Okay. My young friend that was a Boy Scout with me that was a Catholic, his name was Johnny.
Okay, and your son?
His first name really would have been John, but we all called him Johnny. I mean,
Perfect.
He called me Docky. we were just kids. I mean, I started playing with him in his backyard before we were Boy Scouts.
Right.
We grew up together and played together.
That's beautiful. And Doc, how about your son's name? We're so sorry for your loss. How about your son's name?
His name is Daniel.
His name is Daniel. Well, Doc, the good news about that is my son's name is Daniel, so I'll always remember your son in my daily prayers, okay?
Yeah.
Always.
He knew where he was going. He told me a week before he died. He wanted to be near Jesus.
Well, Daniel's a strong name. It's a strong biblical name. You named him beautifully.
Yes.
Doc, you're a sweet soul. You know that? You really helped us today, and we feel so honored that you listen to the show and you love this show and the other shows on EWTN, and of course Mother Angelica. And we feel close to you, and it sounds like you feel close to us, and that's a wonderful thing, Doc.
Yes, I do, and I really appreciate all your programming, even though sometimes I just catch bits and pieces of it because I'm stay pretty much on the move. But it's all the programming on EWTN that I've heard, except on Sunday, this past Sunday morning, I guess I heard part of a Catholic Mass during 11 to 12 o'clock listening on Sunday, yesterday.
Nice. So
it it wasn't quite as down to earth and easy to understand as your regular programming. But then I understand that if I were Catholic, then that probably would have been easier to understand than me being a Baptist,
Right.
But
well, Doc, I'll tell you what. I echo what Debbie said. You've got a beautiful soul, and God has obviously got the pride of place in your heart there, and you have a great relationship with Him, and we're just glad that you called and really blessed our show today. We got a few others here, Doc, as you can understand, that we want to get to on the program, but again, be assured that we're going to pray for Johnny and for Daniel and for you, and we asked Doc that you would pray for Take Two with Jerry and Debbie and all of our listeners and everybody at EWTN Radio. Thanks for the call, Doc. We appreciate it.
Thank you so very much. Okay, next up is Rosa. Rosa is living. I guess you're listening to EWTN Radio in Ohio. So you're in Ohio on Living Bread Radio. Hi, Rosa. Welcome to Take Two.
Hi, Debbie and Jerry. So glad to talk to you.
Likewise.
I'm calling in regard to, this was in the divine providence that this question came to me this morning while I was praying and doing my daily grooming. And what happened, I was thinking, these poor children, Santa cannot give them gifts, so we need to buy them a gift. How do you tell children that they get gifts and the Santa is there for them, and why isn't he there for the poor children?
You're talking about with telling the children that are getting gifts, what to tell the children that when they ask why aren't the poor children getting gifts? Is that what you're asking?
Yes. Well, why would he neglect them?
Oh, gotcha. Well, obviously with the Santa Claus tradition of giving gifts and what it means in the eyes of children, we used to get this question all the time, Rosa, in religious education. And what we used to share is that there's material gifts and then there's spiritual gifts. And some gifts are great for here on earth, and some gifts are the wonderful gifts that are in heaven. And so no child is left behind when it comes to gifts. Obviously, when you're looking upon it as the tradition of Santa Claus, which obviously St. Nicholas and the gift giving, but if you look at it in a grander scale of God, He cares for all His children, whether it's from that material sense on earth or in our spiritual sense in eternity. And I think that's in my religious education days, that was the way we would explain it, because it is it's not really equal, if you will. I mean, and so in kids' eyes, the very concrete thinkers that they are, of course they're going to be saying, well, why did I get a toy and a person across the world doesn't get anything? And so it is hard for them to understand. But that's how we used to explain it. I don't know if that helps at all. If other people are listening, maybe they would want to call in or text us and let us know what they think about what I said. But that's how we used to explain it, that it's we're all given the gift of Christ's birth, and that's the major, that is the main gift. But with these ideas of other gifts, there's some get the actual material gifts and some get spiritual gifts. I don't know if that helps. Does that help?
Debbie, yeah, that does help. But further on, is they have the gimmies. They're selfish. Some of these kids, that they need to realize that there are kids that aren't getting a gift, they're needing to get them a gift.
Oh, got you. Well, yeah, but here's the thing too, though, is that comes with the understanding of what's important. If teaching the kids what's important about building up their souls, and kids are very great about they're like sponges. They will absorb that, and they'll understand that. And you'll find, I found this in religious education for 20 years, Rosa, that kids will they'll give away things in their household pantry, in their homes, to other people when they feel that they are doing the right thing by God. And it all comes with education. The problem is that in this world, we've been stopped in this world from really teaching kids what the true meaning of life is all about. And it all comes from education. So religious education. So did I follow that up on that? I hope I did. sorry. I would love to talk to you more about this. You can email me at any time because this is actually right near and dear to my heart. But our email is take2, the number 2 at EWTN.com. But what do you think about that? Do you think it comes from more religious education of how to teach kids that it's important that they start to live out their mission on earth at an early age?
Yes, definitely. And I don't have an email, sorry to say, Debbie, but
oh, you're lucky.
I think the kids are need to realize that we can't forget, even in our own, even next door or something,
right.
Even in our own nation, we have plenty of kids that aren't going to get Christmas presents, and
right.
And the foster parents and stuff that they're left with, that help them, actually from being lost, that they need Christmas gifts too,
Mm-hmm.
and so we need to, we just cannot let children not realize that there are children that will not have anything, but they need to buy a present for them.
Sure, not to get self-absorbed. I get it, absolutely. Well, Rosa, this is why we have conversations like this, so it can inspire others in their homes, because the homes are the domestic church, and that's where the first catechesis really is, and the primary catechesis. And so maybe others listening will say, you know what? Let's give these gifts to children who really, really need them during this time. So, Rosa, great call. Love to hear from you.
Thank you, Rosa, very much. We heard from Blazenka, I hope I said the name right, via the YouTube channel of EWTN. She says, we here in Croatia, we celebrate on Christmas Eve. And Maria from Ohio, my family opens gifts at midnight Christmas Eve. We get gifts for each other that we need the most. So very practical Christmas shopping. Gifts. I'm not sure I could stay up until midnight on Christmas Eve anymore.
Well, you probably could if there was a good gift waiting for you.
That's right. I know when I was a kid, I could have stayed up all night and probably did. We're going to go to Scranton, Pennsylvania. Kathy, listening to EWTN Radio on JMJ Radio. Hi, Kathy. We got about a minute or so here, so we wanted to hear what you had to say.
Okay, I'd like to share a story because sometimes we dwell on bad things that happen on a particular Christmas. But when I was young, fifth grade, we moved to a house, and I had to share a bedroom with my two older sisters. I got the roll-out bed. It was like a cot. And I used to bump my head on the wall, getting in it
Real
at
quick,
night.
Kathy. Real quick if you can.
Oh, I was feeling sorry for myself. I went to church on Christmas, heard Away in the Manger, so for his bed, and I just changed my whole heart.
Oh.
Wow.
Kathy,
that's powerful.
Yeah, you were forever binded to that. Well, how beautiful. Well, I mean, this is why this Take Two is so special, Jerry. We walk away a little closer to God, a better understanding of Christmas because of our Take Two listeners.
That's right. Be with us tomorrow. See, there wasn't enough time in this hour, and tomorrow we're going to talk about there's not enough time in the day. How well do you organize your time? Until then, Debbie and I want to wish you
a beautiful and blessed day.